And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday on Spreaker Radio, Roar 1776 Radio, and MyCast Live Radio from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Also on 405 Media Radio every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time, in addition to countless terrestrial stations worldwide. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day, simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com, and that's where I get all the emails that I deal with here on the show. You can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. Call directly into the studio at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Now, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Today, my expert contributor is Ray Mailer with his series, The American Grid. We're not only going to be talking about, the drought here in California, but we're going to be talking about, a favorite baseball player of ours that passed away last night, and that would be Yogi Berra. What a fantastic man. And my special guest today is Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless, and he's going to be talking about new wireless technology. We don't want to miss it, but I want you to stand by for news. But first, I want you to know that it is currently 90 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California at 3:02 p.m. Pacific Time. And right now, let me give you the 10 items that you need to know in the news, and I'm going to encapsulate those items, just kind of briefly go through them. We're going to deal with the news in depth after this, so that I can actually cover a lot more things for you and a lot more in-depth things for you, and I think that you'll appreciate it more that way. But first up for today is the Pope of the Poor arrives in the United States. Francis and Obama will meet in the Oval Office to advance causes dear to them both, watched by a nation that can't get enough of the humble man and also unsettling conservatives in American Catholicism. Next up is a refugee crisis amplifies the European Union rifts. European Union leaders are divided among an east-west fault line over whether their countries should be required to accept asylum seekers, mostly Muslim, fleeing the Middle East. And then, the economy on Chinese president's agenda in the United States. When Xi Jinping addresses top American business leaders, they may be most interested in what he says about progress toward a treaty for broader investment. Next item up is China's slowdown fuels unease abroad. But even a weaker Chinese economy is on track to turn in some of the world's strongest growth this year. Well, Yankees Hall of Fame catcher Yogi Berra dies at 90 years old. He's renowned as much for his dizzying malapropisms as his record, which is 10 World Series championships with the New York Yankees. Next up, we're experts, locals scrambling to document heritage. Yep, in Syria, the rush is on to find creative ways to protect its cultural legacy in the face of eradication at the hands of the Islamic State group. Next item up is who appears on Stephen Colbert's show? Well, the CBS host showers thanks on Donald Trump, reducing the usually domineering GOP frontrunner to a straight man status. A lot going on there. If you missed that show, you're going to wish that you had seen it. It was really a good show. Next item up, though, is Volkswagen shares slide again, because of the scandal. VW said 11 million of its diesel vehicles worldwide contain software that can evade emissions controls. Shame, shame, shame on them, I would say. You know what? It's it's just not the way things should be. I mean, if you think about it, it's bad. Just bad. That's all I can say. Bad, bad, bad. All right. Next item up is a judge frees the Happy Birthday song from copyright claims. Happy Birthday is finally free after 80 years, says Randall Newman, one of the plaintiff's attorneys. And then finally, what's hot for Halloween? You give it any thought? Well, let me tell you what's going to be hot for Halloween. Expect to see a lot of Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, and Raphael this year. Well, can you guess where that's going? Yeah, you can. I'm pretty sure you can. It wouldn't be that difficult for you to figure it out. Now, before we go for the news break, I want to remind everybody that we have new apps available. And if you have an iPhone, well, you know what? You can go to the iPhone store and just search Robert Cardoza Live, and you can download absolutely free of charge the iPhone app, where you can actually listen to our show live. You can chat with us when it's actually on live. You can listen to all the archives anytime you want. Everything's right available to you. And if you have an Android or you have a Windows phone, you can just go to Google Play.com, and you can again search for Robert Cardoza Live, and the free app is there. Like I said, it's absolutely free. It enables you to listen to our archives. It enables you to listen to our show absolutely live, and it enables you that while we're live to be able to chat with us. One of the things that we're seeing more and more are people are using these apps and their smartphones in the Bluetooth systems on their cars. Instead of listening to their regular radio, they're now listening to iHeartRadio, and they're listening to our the Bluetooth stuff right on the radio, and that's the way to do it. You get to listen to what you want, when you want, the way you want, and you know what? You get to control the content. Doesn't that just make sense? Makes sense to me. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to get into the news. We're going to talk about the latest. Pope canonizes the 18th century missionary. Can you think of who it is? I can tell you, California. I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what? Let's talk about the news. And I already told you the latest. Pope canonizes an 18th century missionary. The latest developments in Pope Francis's visit to the United States. In the first canonization on U.S. soil, Pope Francis has elevated to sainthood an 18th century missionary who brought Catholicism to the American West Coast. Francis canonized Junipero Serra today during a mass in Washington, D.C. Serra was a Franciscan friar who marched north from Baja California with Spanish conquistadors, establishing 9 of the 21 missions in what is now California. The canonization was polarizing. Serra is revered by Catholics for his missionary work, and many Latinos in the United States view his canonization as a badly needed acknowledgement of Hispanics' roles in the American church. But many Native Americans say Serra enslaved converts and contributed to the spread of disease that wiped out indigenous populations. In July, Francis issued a broad apology for the church's sins against indigenous peoples. The Pope's praise for U.S. bishops for what he called their generous commitment to helping victims of clergy sex abuse has drawn an angry rebuke from advocates who say the bishops acted only under the threat of lawsuits. The Survivors Network of those abused by priests said bishops had displayed cowardice and callousness in response to victims who came forward. The group said they hide behind expensive lawyers and public relations professionals instead of fully confronting the scope of the problem within the church. Lots of stuff. But you know what? This Pope, man, he doesn't duck anything, and I mean nothing. Let's talk about a little bit more about him. Adoring crowds greet the Pope in the nation's capital. Huge crowds of admirers and fans gave Pope Francis an enthusiastic reception in the nation's capital today, beginning with the thousands who packed the South Lawn of the White House. President Barack Obama welcomed Pope Francis to the White House. He said the excitement in the air stemmed not only from his role as Pope, but that people also saw a leader whose moral authority came through deeds as well as words. The clear blue sky and mild temperatures reinforced Obama's first words, "Good morning. What a beautiful day the Lord has made." Pope Francis asked Americans to support efforts to help the world's most vulnerable people and said it's clear to him that climate change is a problem that can no longer be left to a future generation. The two leaders also spoke in the Oval Office for about 40 minutes in what the White House described as a private conversation. You know what? And you know what? Should be, right? Absolutely. Well, you know what? It was just a matter of time to talk about the Volkswagen CEO. He's stepping down. Take responsibility for the scandal. Martin Winterkorn resigned today, days after admitting that the world's top-selling car maker had rigged diesel emissions to pass U.S. tests during his tenure. No replacement was announced. The VW still has no easy exit from a scandal that has suddenly dented a reputation for trustworthiness that took decades to build. The smog test trickery has wiped out billions in VW's market value and raised the specter of criminal investigations and billions more in fines. Winterkorn took responsibility for the irregularities found by U.S. inspectors in VW's diesel engines, but insisted he had personally done nothing wrong. I'm doing this in the interests of the company, even though I am not aware of any wrongdoing on my part, he said. Volkswagen needs a fresh start. I'm clearing the way for this fresh start with my resignation. Winterkorn, 68 years old, resigned following a crisis meeting of the Volkswagen Supervisory Board's Executive Committee. Its acting chairman, Berthold Huber, said company directors are resolved to embark with determination on credible new beginnings. Yep, and they should, right? Absolutely. Well, how about this? Deeply divided, the European Union holds emergency summit on migrant crisis. The migrant crisis overwhelming the European Union tugged at the very fabric of the 28-nation bloc today, with bitter divisions casting a shadow over an emergency summit aimed at staunching the flow of asylum seekers. Leaders meeting in Brussels were looking at long-term ways to tackle the dramatic situation at our external borders and strengthen controls at those borders, according to a draft text seen by the Associated Press. Proposals included deploying more personnel to patrol European Union borders, donating at least $1.1 billion to international aid agencies to help refugees in camps near conflict zones like Syria, and boosting support in Lebanon, Turkey, and Jordan to help them cope with the millions fleeing the fighting in Syria. European Union President Donald Tusk urged divided European Union nations to set aside their differences and work together to hammer out concrete plan in place of the arguments and the chaos we have witnessed in the last weeks. Now, that makes sense, doesn't it? I would think so. Let's see here. We talked about the Pope canonizing Junipero, but the thing is, the 18th century missionary is not making everybody happy. The 18th century missionary who brought Catholicism to the American West Coast was elevated to sainthood today by Pope Francis in a first canonization on U.S. soil. Francis canonized Junipero during a mass outside the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception, the largest Catholic church in North America. Sarah was a Franciscan friar who marched north from Baja California with the conquistadors from his native Spain, establishing 9 of the 21 missions in what is now called California. The Pope announced in January that Sarah would be canonized. The problem is that a lot of the people are saying that Junipero was almost handling the new Christians as slaves. Well, a suspect in 4 of the 11 Phoenix freeway shootings finally is charged. Prosecutors announced formal charges today against 21-year-old man suspected in some of the freeway shootings that have rattled the Phoenix area. Leslie Allen Merritt Jr. was charged with 16 counts, including aggravated assault, unlawful discharge of a weapon, disorderly conduct, endangerment, and carrying out a drive-by shooting. But prosecutors did not file terrorism charges that police originally sought against the landscaper who was arrested Friday night at the suburban Phoenix Walmart. Maricopa County top prosecutor Bill Montgomery previously said Arizona's terrorism laws enacted after 9/11 focused mostly on protecting public utilities from attack and would not apply to the freeway shootings. Using ballistics tests, detectives tied Merritt to 4 of the 11 shootings reported on Phoenix area freeways, Arizona Department of Public Safety Director Frank Milstead said. You know what? What can you say about it? The guy got caught. He deserved it. That's actually what's going on. So, you know what? Don't go away, because when we come back, I'm going to talk about the IRS loses. The first case up is a tax protester escapes the tax for 1 year, but's penalized for others. And I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are. My favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. And you know what? We got some good stuff going on here, and I want to just take you right to it. And let's just start it. The first one up is a tax protester escapes the tax for 1 year, but he's penalized for others. Let me tell you about it. An individual didn't file returns for 4 years, including the year 2000. Now, when the IRS assessed tax and moved to levy against him, he went to the IRS Office of Appeals. However, he made only frivolous arguments questioning the IRS's authority, so appeals upheld the levy. He then went to court, and this is what the judge actually had to say. The appeals officer's report said that she was unable to verify that a deficiency notice had ever been sent to the taxpayer for that 2000 year return. The notice was a requirement for the IRS to collect tax, so it cannot collect tax for that year, but it can collect tax for the other years, and the taxpayer is going to be penalized $6,000 for making the frivolous arguments for those following years. So, you know what? Don't just think you're going to get away with murder around here, because that's just not the way it's going to work for you. Here's another case for you. The IRS loses. Military retiree wins a refund. Here's the case. Robert Bircher retired from the military and drew retirement pay. He then applied for tax-free disability benefits and received them retroactively. He wasn't entitled to receive both for the same period, so some disability benefits were withheld to reimburse the retirement system, but the Veterans Administration, the VA, withheld an amount to repay Virtue's gross retirement pay, not the after-tax amount that he received. He said that taking this reimbursement from the tax-free disability benefits caused his taxes to be overpaid, so he sued the IRS and the VA for a refund. This is what the court said. They found for Vircher, using tax-free funds to repay a taxable amount caused him a loss that he's entitled to have refunded. Well, that makes sense to me, right? Just common sense, which the IRS doesn't seem to have a lot of, if you think about it. Now, let's see here. Let me give you one more. The IRS loses. A husband escapes tax on his wife's embezzlement. Now, a wife stole $40,000 from her employer without her husband knowing. When the theft was discovered, her lawyer told her to report it as income to minimize penalties. But the IRS bars a couple who have signed a joint return from switching to separate returns, so her husband had to file an amended joint return with her. He later said that he shouldn't be liable for the tax due on the money that she stole, but the IRS said he didn't qualify for innocent spouse relief because he voluntarily signed the return knowing the tax was actually due. So let's see here. Somebody's trying to call me on the phone, and I'm trying to take care of this news at the same time. Anyway, this is what the court actually had to say. This general rule poorly fits the facts of this case. Equity requires that the husband be granted relief, and that's just common sense, right? He should have gotten it from the very beginning. Now, you ever want to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing things? Well, that's where we're at right now when we talk about inside the IRS. Oh, yeah. You know what? These are not tax court cases, but these are actually legitimate cases that you want to know about, that we're dealing with. And it does set a precedence against the IRS if you can use these things to your benefit. So let me tell you a little bit, the first case that's up. What do you do if the IRS sends you a check to which you are not entitled? Well, let me tell you. Based on the most recent study conducted by the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, that's TIGTA, the IRS issues millions of dollars of incorrect refunds checks each year. Many times the IRS will credit one person's account with someone else's money or issue a duplicate refund to the same person. Do not keep the money if the IRS mistakenly sends you a check or electronically sends money to your account. Eventually, the IRS will realize that it's made an error and ask for the money back with interest. Best approach here? If you receive money from the IRS and suspect that it was sent mistakenly, or you don't understand why the IRS gave it to you, send it back with a letter requesting that the IRS confirm that the payment is actually accurate. If the IRS sends a new check with an explanation, you can then cash that check unless you absolutely know that the IRS still has not corrected a mistake. That's really where you want to go with this thing. So let's see here. You know what? I'm trying to get a hold of, or actually Joel Saltzman's trying to get a hold of me, and I can't answer his call because I'm on the air. So I'm going to tell him to please call in 1 minute. In that way, I can finish what I'm doing. So let me get to this next item. If it sounds too good to be true, You know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go on a break, and then I will come back with Joel Saltzman. So don't go away. We're going to go on a short break. We'll be right back with Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:32 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 92 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, talk about hot. We've got a guy that's on here. He's got some hot news for us. It's all about the wireless industry, but let's bring him in a proper way. Hang on just a second for my special. Ladies and gentlemen, he's waiting in the wings. He's always got I was going to say a plethora, but who uses that word anymore? He's always got a ton of brand new information, timely information for us about the wireless industry and what's going on. Help me welcome aboard our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Hey, Joel.
Robert, how are you?
I am good. Listen, I apologize. You had some trouble getting through. One of the problems is that I'm an old guy, and I'm working 3 computers, a main board, and a mixer, and I can't answer the phone while I'm actually doing this thing. So it was my fault you couldn't get through.
Oh, not a problem. Not a problem. We got a lot of exciting stuff going on this week, and I know I was I missed last week and have to fill in what's going on there too, but everything is good in the wireless world, and lots of new products, lots of new plans, and unfortunately, the carriers are making it a bit confusing.
Hey, Joel.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you to hang up and call back because we've got a horrible connection here. Can you just hang up and call right back?
I sure will.
Okay. All right. So while we're waiting for Joel to call back, which should be in just a second. I want you to know that this man is one of the most knowledgeable people when it comes to technology that I have ever met in my life. He just is really on top of it. So, you know what? He's back with us now. Hey, Joel, can you hear me any better?
I did. Can you hear me any better? Is the question.
Well, for some reason you're breaking up really bad, and I don't know why.
I may have to go wireless. I know we hate to do that, but for some reason, I don't know what's wrong with my voice over IP.
Well, you know what? Let's do this.
Give it a try?
Yeah. Go ahead and give it a try.
I'll be right back.
Okay. So Joel is gonna call us right back. We're having some connection problems, but he'll call right back, and we'll see what we can do getting this to be a clear connection. Sometimes that happens, and I plan on really bagging on the guy because So here we go. He's back now. So Joel, Oh, that's much better. I just want to take this opportunity to bag on you because you are my technology guy.
Well, when the technology breaks down for the technology guy, it's not a pretty picture. And I have had some challenges. I don't know if I told you, but I had an issue with T-Mobile that drove me nuts. They had an outage in my area. I had quite a few of my clients, friends calling me. Same issue I had. People would call me. It would not ring. It would say missed call. It would not vibrate. It would not ring. It would not flash. I had no opportunity to take the call, but I knew who was calling me if they had caller ID. Anyhow, a month this went on. I corrected it for everybody in about a week. For everybody else, 4 days.
Wow.
And some of the people we had to replace SIM cards. Some of the people we just did reset. Some of the people we had the carrier do a refresh.
Wow.
But it was a bad cell site, but for some reason it did not fix. I was the only one that could not be fixed. And it was a little embarrassing because people were calling me initially with problems, and I couldn't help them because I couldn't get their calls because I had the same problems they had.
Wow.
So it got better for everybody else, but it didn't get better for me. And finally, they determined that I was double registering in the system. So every time somebody called me, it was like there was 2 calls coming in at the same time, and they canceled out instead of going to voicemail.
And so was that just because of one cell site?
I have no idea. I've never experienced that phenomenon. It started with one site in my neighborhood being a problem, but I don't know why that just happened to me and everybody else seemed to be fixed.
Wow.
So anyhow, wireless, has been a little weird for me lately. But that being said, everything seems to be working. My bad signal was on my office phone. Mm-hmm. We're on a T-Mobile cell now. And you sound marvelous. I don't know how I sound.
Well, you sound fantastic. So, you know what? Let's give a proper applause to T-Mobile.
All right.
That's enough.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all they deserve. Anyhow, what I wanted to talk about today, Robert, is this. I've been getting a lot. First of all, let me talk about last week. I apologize. I totally scheduled something without thinking twice. And once a year, Caltech has their international students come in. They have 180 students from all over the world. They come in. They have a big orientation, and they have, the local banks there. They have me there to represent wireless solutions. And, they have a dinner, and they welcome everybody. And I completely forgot I had scheduled it the same time. I didn't schedule. You know what? They tell me, Joel, can you be there?
Joel, no apology necessary. I can certainly understand not only the necessity of what you were doing, but it's a tremendous honor and privilege to go to represent a company at a group like that. So, you know what? No apology necessary.
Well, I appreciate that, and I feel just because I shortchanged your listeners last week, I want to offer them the same exact deal that I offered when we welcomed these new students in. And basically what they were all going with, the challenge I've always had with these students is they're very, very affluent, but they're coming from different countries, which means there's no credit record in the U.S. They don't have U.S. credit cards. They don't have U.S. Social Security numbers. And the carriers always wanted a big deposit. It was a nightmare. Well, with our favorite reseller, we have a solution that's fantastic for them. We were offering free SIM cards, no activation fees. You just pay $29 a month for unlimited voice, unlimited text, and unlimited 2G data, and you get 500 megabytes of 4G. And these guys have Wi-Fi pretty much everywhere they go. So this is a great solution for them, and they loved it. So $29, it was like 32 hours with tax, and they set it up with a their foreign credit card to bill every month.
Yeah, just automatic.
And they all
right?
have international phones, Robert. So it's beautiful. I just give them a SIM card. They take out their foreign SIM, they put in their new SIM, and they're up and going. Unlimited voice, unlimited text, unlimited data, and unlimited texting globally included.
Well, that's really interesting.
$29.
That's interesting. Let me ask you a question. So when you change that SIM card and you have a local SIM card that you put in there, are they still paying a monthly fee for the guys back home?
Not if they turned it off. And most of them will turn off their local service, or they'll put it on mobile hold, or some will put it on the very lowest plan.
Yeah.
Or they don't. Most of them will cancel the service. We can't port over a European number, obviously, but most of them will cancel their service once we establish the new service.
Yeah, because they're going to be here for a while, right?
Exactly. They're going to be here 4 years.
Yeah. So, and
the beauty of this program, I wish I had something like this when I was in college. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't even have computers for that matter.
Hey, listen, when I first started college, they didn't even have calculators, Joel.
Wow.
we used a slide rule. We used a slide rule.
Well, they were just starting with computers. They had something called Cobalt and something called Fortran, and I didn't understand either one of them. So I kind of steered clear to computers. And the computers were as big as a house back then, too. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, yeah. The IBM was rooms.
As slow as molasses.
Yeah.
But anyhow, here's the problem we have. The problem is we now have all these fantastic phones that just came out. We have the iPhone 6S, 6S Plus, start shipping on the 24th. I've got orders for most of the carriers. And what people are going to find is it's a new ball game out there. It's confusing buying phones. It's no longer the old subsidized model. T-Mobile doesn't do that anymore. Verizon, here's something interesting. Verizon no longer offers contracts. If you want to, activate a new line, you're with them. They'll do an upgrade. They no longer offer contracts for a new service, but Dr. Wireless does. Figure that one out.
You know what? God bless you, sir.
Well, usually it's the other way around. Usually they let their direct stuff do stuff that they don't let Dr. Wireless do. But listen to this one, Robert. This is fantastic for any businesses out there listening. Verizon has new plans. My beef with them was their plans were opaque, confusing, and you didn't know at the end of the month what you're going to pay. Well, their new plans are fantastic. They did away with subsidies in the store, but my division, the business group, allows us to offer subsidies. Not only can we offer the $450 subsidy, but I can offer another $300 on top of that.
Holy cow.
So $750 subsidy, which means your iPhone 6 Plus 64 gig phone is basically paid for. Now, the difference is with their plans, you're going to end up paying $40 per line for the per line charge instead of $20 per line if you financed it at full price. But
who cares? That's still
after that extra $300 on top of the $450, it makes it a no-brainer. So I have an unbelievable deal on Verizon. To give you an idea how that works, if you took like a 1 gigabyte plan with Verizon, it's normally $30 plus the $40 for the phone service. So you're looking at it's like $70 1 gig. So it's an interesting thing, but here's what's going on now. When you go and buy your phones, it's going to pretty much be a finance deal with most of the carriers. Sprint is pushing everything. Sprint will subsidize, Sprint will lease, Sprint will finance. Sprint ultimately wants to lease everything. That is Sprint's new model.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I got to tell you, I'm not so. I'm from an old school. I like to own stuff.
Well, I agree with you there, Robert. and there's some issues regarding the leasing stuff. That I told you about this lease deal, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The MAAS.
Yeah, and it's a great deal, except you never own the phone.
Deal. There's a problem with the deal. It's mobility as a service. It's fantastic. It's fantastic on paper. And what it means is you can have an iPhone 6S with unlimited talk, text, and 2 gig of data for $37.50 a month, which is crazy. That requires a few restrictions. There's another deal, $42.50 a month if you port in from another carrier, and that includes the service. That's your device and the service. And the beauty of this is it's that iPhone anytime upgrade deal, which means you can upgrade multiple times anytime a new device comes out. You're basically paying, it's like $15 when you break it down. There's some deals right now with T-Mobile and with Sprint where you pay really $15 a month for a lease of an iPhone, lease or finance of an iPhone 6S 16 gig.
Wow, that's a heck of a deal.
So there's great deals out there as far as getting the device. What people are going to have problems with is they're going to need to understand when they buy them. There's intricacies with these leasing programs. Apple now has a leasing program too, which I think we talked about. But here's some of the intricacies. You hear about everybody's got the lease deal. Well, some of them are going to require that you trade in a smartphone. Some don't.
Yeah.
That's kind of important. Verizon does something that they don't talk about, which I think is kind of disgusting. And they're the only carrier that does that. I just refinanced my home last night and signed the final papers. And one of the cool things is if I wanted to accelerate the payment and make an extra $100 a month or $500 a month payment, I can do that, and it'll reduce the principal. Well, right. Verizon does not allow you, when you sign up on these lease deals, let's say your payment is $27 a month for the iPhone, which is typical. $27.08 is usually for a 6S 16 gig. Let's say you want to pay $100 a month extra because you don't want to, you don't want to wait 24 months to pay that phone off. Let's say you want to pay it off in 6 or 7 months. Well, you can do that with all the other carriers. You cannot do that with Verizon. The only thing you can do with Verizon is pay the whole thing off at one time or continue making your monthly payment for 24 months.
Okay, talking about continuing, let's continue this conversation right after this break. Joel, when you come back, you can give your contact information. We got to get out on a break. We'll be right back with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. You heard all about him during that last commercial. Joel, you want to give out that contact information one more time, or you want to try and wait till the end of this segment?
Well, I'll give it quick because I'm going to try to race through this because we get a lot of stuff. But anybody who wants more information regarding what I'm going to talk about can contact me at Joel at D as in David, R as in Rabbit, wireless.com, or go to our site, www.drwireless.com. And we also have a lot of this stuff on our blog and on our Facebook page, Facebook.com/DR Wireless. Anyhow, I wanted to discuss now because people are going to be confused. There's 4 basic options as far as acquiring phones. Subsidies is still an option with Sprint, with AT&T, and with My Channel with Verizon. It's fading fast, though. Financing is a very popular option pretty much most of the carriers offer. And here's the difference. With the subsidies, your plan costs are always going to be higher with all of the carriers because they never admitted this before. We've always said it. They were building in a $25, $30 pad into your plan when they said they were giving you that $450 free subsidy. They were basically breaking it down. So what now is happening with financing and leasing, they're taking away that $27 or $25, $30 amount, and they're saying, okay, we're going to reduce your plan cost, but in return, we want you to finance this device at full pop, or we want you to lease it. Now, naturally, everybody wants the best of both worlds. They want the subsidy and they want the plan pricing as if they were financing it and leasing it. They cannot have that. So that is where this gets tricky. You need to do the math and figure out. Usually with the subsidies, I've calculated, with most of the carriers, you end up maybe over 2 years, you might spend $30, $50 more taking the subsidy with all the discounts versus doing the lease. So, it depends. You really need to do the math. As we discussed, the lease option is a new option, and it has some pros and cons. The pros are it's got the least amount of money to output to get into, a lease. So if you have 10 employees, you want to get them all iPhones, you're not going to pay tax. You're not going to pay anything other than the monthly cost, $27 or whatever. So problem with leasing, if it breaks and you don't have insurance, you're on the hook for full price. And that is where I have a problem. If these phones were that expensive, maybe leasing would be viable, but it just seems to me the finance versus the lease option, I would rather have something after 2 years, where I own it. Maybe it's worth $200, maybe it's worth $300. It's worth something.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly it. And one of the things that you had said before, and who's to say that's not going to come back in again in a bigger way? And that is that some of these plans, you want to get this lease plan that lets you upgrade anytime you want. Well, it requires you to turn in your old smartphone. Well, if you don't have one because you don't own one, how do you do that?
Well, there's ways around that. And here's what the other thing you need to worry about. When I hear early upgrade plans, it scares the daylights out of me. And the reason is these tend to be really convoluted options. They're kind of a halfway point between leasing and financing. They typically allow you to upgrade sooner than a 2-year contract. But unfortunately, they have so many details, that make them confusing that basically, it may be a lease being called a finance deal. So you really need to read the fine print on these. And a lot of times you pay more to do the early upgrade option. So I'm not an advocate of that. I think the smart move is you either lease it, you either finance it or buy it outright.
Yeah,
I typically buy my device outright.
I'm with you. You know what? I got to tell you, Joel, I hate payments. I just hate them. And so, you know what? I'd much rather just write the check, and buy the thing outright. And if I couldn't afford it, then charge the doggone thing and pay it on your own schedule on your credit card. It's probably going to be a lot less money than a lease anyway. And and then you still wind up owning the thing.
Well, here's the thing. I agree with that, and that's what I did. I dropped $600 for my phone, and the beauty is I own it. If I decide I want an S model tomorrow, I will go pay full pop for the S model more than likely, and what I'll do is I'll sell my S, my 6.
Yeah.
So in other words, if I have to spend $200-300 to upgrade my phone, so be it. I don't mind doing it, but I like the fact that I am month to month. I am. Nobody has, me in their pocket. And, I had an issue with one carrier and I changed carriers, not too long ago last year. And it was very simple to do. And here's what's very interesting. At one point, the carriers determined what kind of device you were going to have. They were very strict about that and certifying certain devices. Mm-hmm. Now, the device manufacturers, thanks to Apple, are taking over. And here is what's beautiful. You are going to see one device that works with every carrier, and it's happening today. LTE is making that responsible. So the new Apple devices have 23 LTE frequencies. So you can buy the phone from Apple if you wanted, or any carrier, but you can move it from carrier to carrier to carrier. It supports every technology as far as LTE, every band.
And that's good news.
So this makes it easy to move. And this is why I think the smart money is buy your device outright. If you travel globally regularly, get T-Mobile. If you're domestic, primarily, the Solivate deal we have, which is the T-Mobile network, is absolutely stupid ridiculous.
Yeah.
$29, $32 after taxes for, monthly service, unlimited voice, text, and data with global texting. I mean, that's crazy. So the best of both worlds is buying the device outright. And the other option is this. We call it BYOD, bring your own device. You don't need, unless you want an iPhone, the latest, greatest, or a Samsung, there are wonderful devices out there. You can get a flagship device for $400 that competes with the best iPhones and that competes with the S6 Galaxies. And those devices are available on either... You can go to the Google Play Store. They have the Nexus devices, which are wonderful. There is Motorola. You can go to Motorola now, which sells directly. The Motorola X Pure is spec for spec, 21 megapixel camera, octa-core processor. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Hey, Joel,
but
what's
a $400 phone?
What's the maximum memory you can get on an iPhone or any smartphone?
128 gig currently on iPhones because they build it in. On the micro SD card phones, that will be probably higher, or before Apple offers it. Mm-hmm. But there's some great phones out there. We also talked about that company OnePlus. They came out with a OnePlus One. Now there's a OnePlus 2, Chinese company making wonderful products. There's a lot of Chinese companies now making these phones for, in the $200 to $400 range that have, I'm talking top of the line features.
Okay, so now you've got the ability to have any equipment you want, any kind of phone you want. And do you have a preference, or do you just keep moving around to find out what's going on with each one so you can tell people?
Well, you know what? That's a great question, Robert, because that used to be what I did. I used to try every new phone that came out. In the old days, BlackBerry used to send me every new device, so I didn't have to buy them. Apple never sent me anything, so I always had to buy theirs. The Androids I'd have to buy. And I used to evaluate them, but it would drive me crazy trying to figure them all out.
Yeah.
So I like the iPhones. I'm back to the iPhones again. I'm on a 628 gig. I'll more than likely, I don't know if I'll move to a 6. I may move to a 6S just to try it, but generally I would probably wait for the 7 in March. But we'll see. I mean, I'm happy with my current device. I could use a bigger screen. Maybe I'll get a 6 Plus.
Yeah.
I don't know that I need the S, at this point. If I can get a good deal on one, I would. It's certainly a wonderful device. With what I've read and seen, the new features are great. The camera is supposed to be much better than the current one.
Did you do the upgrade, the iOS 9 upgrade?
I have not.
You are just a chicken feather, my friend. You never do.
Because the reason I didn't do it is because of all the other problems I was having with T-Mobile. I just didn't want them to be able to blame it, on a software upgrade. As is, I was using third-party voicemail.
Mm-hmm.
I was using UMail. So I had to disable the UMail so they didn't say, oh, it must be your third-party voicemail. So there's always somebody to point a finger at. So I made sure everything was T-Mobile.
Yeah.
But they finally got it right. I have no complaints, now that everything is working great. When T-Mobile works, the clarity, I think, is better. That's something nobody talks about anymore. Yeah. Everybody talks about data speed. But you know what? Clarity is important to me. And we're talking now on a radio show, and I think this sounds clearer than my voice over IP landline.
Oh, you sound crystal clear. And here's the thing: it's a telephone. It's supposed to sound good,
but they don't. And I know some of the carriers now, like T-Mobile, have something called HD audio, and I can hear a difference. That CDMA technology was always fuzzy sounding to me, and for some reason, the LTE technology just sounds clearer.
Yeah, you're crystal right now.
Interesting. And I'll bet if I turned this fan off behind me, I'd be even crystaller.
You know what? I'm not even hearing the fan, to be honest with you, in the background. I can tell you that I do have somebody who calls in almost on a daily basis for a short promo, and he's got a fan next to his on his desk, and I have to remind him to turn it off because it sounds like a doggone hurricane on this end of the thing.
Interesting. Well, I want to try something.
You still with me?
Now, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I'm just wondering because I now have headphones on, so I'm just wondering if I sound the same.
Well, no, you sound a little different, but you still sound clear. You're not as crystal as you were prior to that, but the truth is you still sound clear enough for broadcast.
All right. Well, that's good to know. I'm going to take off the headphones, but I was just curious here if it made any difference.
Actually, it sounds good. You can leave them on if you like.
We are now off the headphones.
Oh, what a dramatic difference.
All right. Well, we'll stay off the headphones.
Okay. Dramatic difference. So listen.
So how's technology in your life, Robert? Everything working well?
Oh, you know what? Everything. Thank goodness. I'm afraid to say anything because everything has been working just peachy good. It's unbelievably good. So I don't want to jinx anything. I mean, we've got all these stations that are automatically encoded. We've got the biggest problem I have is remembering. I've got one station that drops off after an hour, and I always forget to announce that they're going to be gone for an hour. We do have the new apps. I don't know if you know we have our new apps out, or if you've had a chance to.
I do. I downloaded it actually.
Oh, you know what? And I'm thrilled. Yeah, I'm thrilled with it. It's easy to get. It's free. It makes it easy for people to not only listen live or the archives, but they can chat with us during the live broadcast if they want to, which is a pretty cool deal. Listen, we got 30 seconds. I want you to give out your contact information.
All right. Again, www.drwireless.com. We are on Facebook at Facebook/drwireless. We have our blog with all kinds of great information that can save you money. And that's at www.drwireless.com/blog. And I can be emailed, joel@drwireless.com.
Hey, Joel, a fantastic show. Thank you so much. I love it when you're on. You're an interesting guy, and you're articulate, which is what I like even better. And you know what? You have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you next Tuesday or Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday.
Likewise. Stay cool out there, Robert. I hear it's going to get warm again.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's 92 right now, so but it was 108 last week, so this is pretty good.
Well, we'll speak next week. Hopefully it'll cool off.
All right, you take care. Now, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to be with our own Ray Mailer and his American Grid. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:08 p.m. Pacific Time. It is currently 94 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 99 degrees on its way to 68 degrees. That's where we actually want it to be. That'll be a good place for it. But right now, he's waiting in the wings, and I know he's a baseball fan. Let's get him in here.
Bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye and singing, this'll be the day that I die.
And now, from the National Archives of Public Planning, located in the basement of his Long Beach Reference Library, the unappreciated but widely acknowledged expert on past, present, and future infrastructure planning, let's welcome Mr. Ray Mailer and his American Grid.
Welcome aboard. I wasn't sure if you were going to make it today or not. I'm not getting any younger. You know that, right?
Indeed. I apologize, Bob. There are always these technical issues that come up, but I'm glad to be here, and glad you're still in good health despite my scares.
I just figure, if the guy doesn't call in, this is what's going to wind up happening.
The worst possible thing in the world of radio is dead air, right?
Oh yeah, or if we get close, just a handgun shot. Anyway, yeah, dead air is tough stuff. Oh, let me ask you, when you said dead air, did you not hear the machine gun in the background?
No, I didn't hear a machine gun in the background.
Well, let me turn your microphone off and see if you hear it this way. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't. Are we still having a new technical issue, huh?
Well, you know what? Actually, it's. I guess you just can't hear the sound effects. I can hear them on this side. I don't know why you can't hear them on that side. And it's going across everywhere except back to you. Maybe it's just because of the way we're using the phones nowadays. So when you call in to me and I put and I answer the phone, but I can't talk to you right away because I'm actually in a commercial basis. You hear nothing. Is that right?
That's right. Yep.
So no wonder it is that every once in a while I hear somebody saying, and I'm in the middle of a commercial or I'm in the middle of saying something, and they're saying, Bob, you there? Bob, are you there? The interesting thing here, Ray, is that I've got 3 computers in front of me, a master board and a mixer, and I'm trying to watch all of those things, and then I've got a separate phone plugged into the mixer that if you don't call when I assign you to call, I don't always see it because I got my eyes are everywhere. So I apologize.
Oh, well.
I apologize to you. I got to figure out a way to fix this part of this thing. I don't understand why that didn't work. Anyway, I can tell you this much: you are going out over the air. I can see that, and I check the recordings and I check the archives all the time. Speaking of which, have you had a chance to download our new app yet?
Yes, indeed, I have.
Well, that's terrific. That's great. Just tell all your friends about it. It's free. We want to get as many of those out there as we can. And listen, I said it when we started off. You are a baseball fan, and we had some sad news that came in today, and I'll let you talk about it.
Sure. Yes. The sad news was the passing of Yogi Berra, the longtime player for the Yankees in the 50s and 60s, went on to manage them for a few years. But this man who was a nice man, just a great human being, was most famous not only for his excellent play, but for his witticisms.
Oh yeah, and before you do that, I want you to know that back in the 50s and mid 50s, I actually got to see Yogi Berra play. He was a catcher for the Yankees, and that was the era where Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris and Whitey Ford and all those guys were on the Yankees. What an exciting thing for a young punk like me, and I was just a little kid. I had an uncle that took me out to the old Wrigley Field that was out here in Los Angeles, and the Dodgers were playing. What an exciting thrill for me to actually see guys like that. And it was just I didn't know Yogi Berra other than his stats and stuff like that. But when I learned of his passing, it actually saddened me.
Yeah. It is a little bit sad, and one of his witticisms that is hopefully is going to turn out well for him. He would say, "You should always go to other people's funerals, otherwise they won't come to yours."
You know what? I didn't realize that was him. My dad used to say that, and that must have been where he got it from.
Must be. It must be.
Well, he always said it ain't over till it's over. Well, Yogi, it's over today.
It is, and and we're a little bit sadder for it, but really blessed that he was part of our life, and that he hit a national stage, and we all got to hear his witticisms.
Oh yeah, hey, did you know there was a sportscaster that was interviewing Whitey Ford, who was a pitcher for the Yankees when Yogi Berra was the catcher, probably the best catcher of all time, by the way. And so they were interviewing him, and Yogi Berra and Whitey Ford used to room together when they were on the road. And so this sportscaster asked Whitey Ford, "Hey, is the best roommate you ever had Yogi Berra?" And he thinks about it for a second, said, no, the best roommate I ever had was Angie Dickinson. Now this is 3 times you've tried to do some of these euphemisms. I'm going to let you do it.
Oh, sure. I'll just give folks a few smatterings. One of his most famous ones is, "It's like deja vu all over again." I wonder, do you think he did it on purpose, or was that just his personality? He didn't even know he was saying those things. It could be a little of both, but having been a long-time baseball observer, I believe the smartest guy on the field is the catcher, because he's the one who's involved in every pitch of every play. Yeah. He's not sitting in the outfield waiting for an occasional hit to come his way, or even a shortstop, who may be involved in a handful, or even quite a few plays each game. But for every pitch of every inning, and he plays, every game. Pitchers are only there, every 5 days these days. Yeah. Well, the interesting thing, if you think about it, not only is he there for every pitch of every game, but he's if that pitch is a strike or a ball or anything but a hit, he's involved in the play too, because it could be somebody stealing second, could be any number of things, and that catcher's got to be heads up all the time. You've got it. You have got it. And he knows all the players. I mean, he knows, he's the catcher is usually the person recommending to the pitcher, try the fastball or curveball or whatever. Yeah. It's the catcher who suggests it, and he does it based on his knowledge of the hitters. Yeah. Well, just imagine how many hitters there are, just in a game. And then, as you kind of work your way through the entire league, that's quite a bit of information to have right there at your fingertips. Oh, yeah. It's interesting. Not only does the pitcher have to know who he's up against, but the catcher has to know who the pitcher's up against. And they talk to each other all the time. But one of the things, when that catcher is giving that signal about what kind of ball to throw, it's because he's already getting into the batter's head, and he's letting the pitcher know that he's getting into the batter's head, telling him what to expect. And throw something else. That's right. And to remember, it may be the 8th inning, but to remember in the 2nd inning that the batter, made this really embarrassing swing against a curveball in the lower outside corner, and to know that at the right moment to ask the pitcher to throw that one. Yeah, absolutely. So listen, are you a big baseball fan, or are you just like I am, a Yogi Berra fan? I guess I live in yesteryear, Yeah, I live in a little bit of yesteryear, but I'm also very current on baseball, and I have really enjoyed it for much of my life. I'm a big Angels fan, and the Angels, I'm pleased to see, despite having a pretty middling, struggling kind of season, are kind of turning on the afterburners right here at the end, and they have a shot at getting the second wild card spot in the American League. Oh, that's great. And that would get them into the playoffs. Yeah, they had to win 3 or 4 against Minnesota, and they got 3 of them, and they had to win 2 of 3 against Houston, and they finished that this afternoon. After losing the first one, we all kind of looked at that and said, "Oh, all right, that's the end of the season." But they managed to win it yesterday and again this afternoon, and they were both very exciting games. Real nail biters right down to the bottom of the 9th inning. So the Angels have really struggled this year, but they keep coming back, and you see these glimpses of a really brilliant team that has great, exciting offense and fabulous pitching. And every once in a while, Mike Scioscia can kind of manage it so it all happens for a few to several games.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like playing golf. You know.
I want to hear this analogy. You got 45 seconds to explain to me how playing baseball is like playing golf.
Well, watching the Angels is this year has been like playing golf, because I'm not that great of a golfer, but every once in a while, usually I'll get one or two beautiful hits each game. And that's what keeps me coming back. I have 100 duffs and one or two great shots, and I'll come back again saying, I can do that more often next time.
All right. Well, that makes sense. We're going to go for a short break. What are we going to talk about when we come back?
It's a kind of a wide-ranging, not a wide-ranging conversation, but I'm going to talk about the Olympics in the context of LA's economic growth.
Oh, that's going to be interesting. I'm all into it. We're going to be right back with our own Ray Mailer in the American Grid. Do not go away. You don't want to miss this. Be right back, folks.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Ray Mailer in his American Grid. And Ray, you've got the microphone, my friend.
Well, thanks, Bob. Yeah, so for this segment, I wanted to talk about the LA area's economic vitality with respect to the Olympics. And I'm sure there's a big group of people in LA who are excited about our sudden sudden consideration for the 2024 games. That came kind of unexpectedly. Boston had been the United States' choice, but Boston backed out at the last minute because they didn't want to take on the risk of potential debt. LA apparently has accepted this condition. And, the forecast right now is that we should break even or maybe even run a slight profit. But, there's a lot of risk that comes with a big venture like that. And there's a good chance we will be borrowing in the end to do that. So when you're facing that, you kind of start evaluating the decision to go forward. Now, an interesting piece I read in the newspaper a few weeks ago concerned the differences of LA between 1984 and today. In 1984, or while the games were being planned in the late 70s and early 80s, LA was definitely a metropolitan area on the ascendancy. There was a lot of domestic migration into the area. I remember living back east. A lot of people, dreamed of getting a transfer or somehow getting a great job in the LA area. And families would cheerfully move out here. That pretty much changed during the 90s. And some of it, was just kind of LA, kind of lost its sheen it usually had, but also the economics changed quite a bit. A lot of leading companies left the LA area for their own reasons, but we've had some other consequential changes. The middle class is not nearly as strong as it once was, and I think that's really a key part to a city's strength and its vitality. And, basically our industrial employment has been cut to a third of where it was in the mid-1980s. And those jobs that there are in the industrial sector, the wages are stagnant, and, things like important healthcare benefits have definitely been reduced. And there have been some other changes. California overall boasts a very vibrant tech sector, but the growth is really centered in the Bay Area. And this Bay Area tech sector is making inroads into LA's entertainment sector. So now we've got some regional competition in what's frequently been considered, kind of our homegrown source of economic wealth. And, the Bay Area may be weakening some of that strength. So, all right. So given that the Olympics are likely to cost us something, and given that LA is not nearly as vibrant as it was in 1984, if we're looking at an investment like this, could we or should we direct the investment in a different way? Frequently you might compare this to, okay, so we could invest, and I'm just going to pull a number out of the air. Let's say it costs $2 billion, where we'll be on the hook for $2 billion in the end. Well, do we spend that $2 billion for a 2-week party, which can be great for a city in terms of promoting itself to the world? Or do we invest it in something that gives us some long-term benefits? So if we imagine now we had $2 billion we were about to invest, what would we do with it? Well, I would offer that I think entrepreneurs are ultimately really, really vital, key to a city's vitality, much more so than a sports event. Spending on a sports event really is a product of strong economic vitality. So what I think would be good to do is for us in LA to kind of reimagine things. A city needs to create something out of nothing, like Henry Ford did with mass producing the automobile in Detroit, like Thomas Edison did with the light bulb, the telephone, the phonograph in New Jersey. William Boeing did the same thing with the aeroplane in Seattle. Steve Jobs with consumer electronics in San Francisco. Bill Gates with business and home software in Seattle again. And the early movie moguls in Hollywood. These were things that, these entrepreneurs conceived of the ideas, implemented the ideas, brought them to life, employed tens and hundreds of thousands of people in industries that lasted generations. Those are the sorts of things that really make a big difference.
Okay, so let me stop you there for just one second, because I agree. Sure. I agree with everything you're saying. On the other hand, you have a lot of entrepreneurs in the form of hoteliers, restaurateurs, shops, places, things like that. That when you bring a major event into a city, it helps to feed those people. They make profits. The city makes profits. There's tax revenues, and the end result, hopefully, is a positive revenue for the city and all the economy within the city, and so that could be a good thing too, and give the city additional money over and above that $2 billion they invested to shore up that infrastructure that they could use on entrepreneurship the way you're talking. Is that not right?
Oh, I agree with you, and certainly if the tax revenues generated at at basically the retail industries, if those tax revenues covered the investment, then it's kind of a zero sum and definitely a benefit to the businesses that would be catering to all the sports services for hosting the Olympics. That would definitely be good. I'm assuming the scenario though where we've got $2 billion in loss even after even after the Olympic bump.
Gotcha.
Associated with the 2 weeks.
Yeah, what we wound up with is a lot of empty buildings and facilities that are useless at that point, and the $2 billion went for naught.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And granted, for a short time, there'll be a lot of construction jobs related to the new facilities, and that will be good. That'll create a bump. But if in the end that winds up as a debt to the city, those, like you say, those particular facilities are not going to be used heavily after the Olympics because they are kind of unique to the Olympics. So then you've got this big, debt and don't have a tax revenue to cover for it, versus a different kind of investment that perhaps has a chance to be recouped through longer term economic vitality. So, maybe improving some transportation infrastructure. People are able to get around better. They'll conduct more business, hence more tax revenue, and then the investment, that infrastructure investment cost gets recouped, in one fashion or another. But I was thinking of taking a step back and getting even bigger picture. I mean, where, what was the environment, or what was it that contributed to a Henry Ford, an Edison, a Boeing, a Jobs, a Gates, or the movie moguls? What was it, in their background that made them so, create such change for the metropolitan area?
Well, they were innovators, and the thing with talking about Henry Ford, first of all, Henry Ford created the middle class, and he created I can't think of the name of it, the line.
The assembly line?
Yeah, the assembly line. And the thing is that the purpose of that was his ingenuity to increase his bottom line so he could pay his people more money and make more profits himself so that his people could go out and buy the same product that he was manufacturing. And so the whole idea of his innovation was created by necessity to increase his bottom line. And I think the same thing happened with Edison. His motivation was to get rich. It wasn't to just provide a light bulb. It was to provide a light bulb for money.
Yeah, Edison particularly is well noted for his profit focus. Yeah, exactly. I think there's one other thing that's unique about these particular innovators, because there are probably quite a few people who are innovators, but there are fewer people who are innovators and also have the ability to bring it into implementation. That usually requires a combination of a force of personality and education, to learn how to structure things and learn how to get people to help build things, in the vision that you've had. And those are truly unique individuals. And to get that education is where I'm coming back to. I think if we were going to burn $2 billion on an Olympics, we should consider using that for the construction of new schools, additional schools.
Oh, yeah.
We've done something in the last 25 years. I think we began to recognize our classrooms were getting overcrowded, so we decided we're going to go build more classrooms so we can get the class sizes down. Sounded good, except that many of these improvements didn't come in the form of brand new school campuses, but quite a few modular classrooms on the same campuses. So what happened is the classrooms or the campuses effectively got smaller. You got more kids on the same piece of land. They were with less playground, and then that playground just got paved over. And so I think a lot of our kids in many of the metropolitan school districts are living in or trying to, in those early years, learn in a pretty compact, efficient environment with a lot of concrete and chain link. And I don't think that's necessarily good for creating people or making possible the creation of somebody like a Ford, an Edison, a Boeing, a Jobs.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right.
The kids, they need a chance to, see grass, to run around, to stare at a dandelion for 10 minutes. Those are actually really important things for young children to do, because that's when imagination starts forming and, the brain kind of starts working, and the broader the child's environment, the broader, the thoughts that will come from this mind, when they're, 18, 20, 30, 35 years old.
Yeah, if you want something to grow, you start with a seed, right? And then you nurture that seed, and then it grows. And that's what you're talking about with youth.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I think the LA area could do a lot better with its educational system. I mean, it is the number one critique of families, who live here, and many of them have either a tenuous hold here or, really wouldn't mind an opportunity to try to educate their kids somewhere else.
And isn't it unfortunate that what you're talking about for LA actually applies to the entire United States? The educational system in the United States is so upside down when it comes to nurturing and exciting the youth in young minds, that it's just depressing, because that is the future of not only our country or our government or our local entities, but the entire planet. And if we can't get these people to use their ingenuity and to get the light bulbs to go off, then, shame on us. And right now, it's a drudgery for all of these students to go to school, and they're getting out of school learning nothing.
Yeah. If we're dreaming of higher test scores and greater competitiveness, with the world, we need to give our kids the space to do it and to give them facilities to do it.
Yeah.
And so as expensive as it might be in the LA area for, given our land prices, et cetera, I really think we need to figure out a way to build more campuses and have fewer students per campus.
Oh, yeah. And concentrate a more one-on-one, so these kids can grasp what's going on instead of those handful that grasp it and then the rest of them get left behind.
Right. Or when the kid articulates, kind of a novel idea, the teacher, has the moment and the opportunity to kind of draw the idea out, kind of teach the kid how to begin to articulate this idea.
Yeah.
That's one of the most valuable things a teacher can do is teach the children how to communicate.
Oh boy, here.
So,
you'll never get an argument from me on that. So listen, we've got 30 seconds for you to do a wrap. You want to tell us what you're going to talk about next week, or you want to talk more about education or the Olympics, or do you want to? What the hell do you want to talk about?
How about in Yogi Berra's honor? We'll go through a few more of his great witticisms.
Okay, 15 seconds.
In his honor. 15 seconds.
Yeah.
So half the lies they tell about me aren't true. Love is the most important thing in the world, but baseball's pretty good too. If you don't know where you're going, you might wind up someplace else. And then one of the really famous ones, when you come to a fork in the road, take it.
All right, listen, that's it. We've been talking to our own Ray Mailer and his American Grid. Ray, great show. I don't know what it is about you. You start talking and I start talking and we go off into a million different tangents, but I love the way your mind works, sir.
And mine too. It is always an enjoyable experience to converse with you.
All right, you have yourself a wonderful evening, a wonderful week. Be careful on your drive home. Don't forget to give that lovely wife of yours a hug and a kiss from me, will you?
Will do.
All right, buddy, you take care. Now, don't go away. When we come back, I'm going to be handling the birthdays for today, the secret daily teachings for your life, the Harvard Business Tip of the Day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:41 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 94 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what today is, right? Sure you do. It's September the 23rd, and it's somebody's birthday. You know, I actually, get a kick out of this segment of the show. I enjoy it very much. So let's just get right to it. Today, Wednesday, September the 23rd, this gentleman was born in 1930, passed away in 2004. A musician voted number 2 on their November 2008 list of the 100 greatest singers of all time. Happy birthday, Ray Charles. And here's another guy. We all heard of him. 1949 was the year of his birth. The Boss is a musician who has sold more than 65 million albums in the United States and 120 million worldwide. Yep, The Boss. Happy birthday, Bruce Springsteen. And Annie DeFranco, born in 1970, a singer, guitarist, and songwriter. She is a prolific artist, having released over 20 albums and is widely celebrated as a feminist icon. Well, what happened today in history? I can tell you that in 1642, the very first commencement exercises occur at Harvard College. And in 1806, Lewis and Clark returned to St. Louis after exploring the Pacific Northwest of the United States. And in 1969, the Chicago 8 trial opens in Chicago. And in 1999, NASA announces that it has lost contact with the Mars Climate Orbiter. Yep, there we go. Well, our quote for today comes from somebody who's unknown. Obviously, they found the quote, but not the quoter. And his quote for today is, "You've reached middle age when all you exercise is caution." That's prolific. That's true, isn't it? Well, you know what? Let's talk about the sacred daily teaching for your life. It's all about a positive mental attitude. And the teaching today is, the definition of the perfect weight is the weight that feels good for you. No one else's opinion really counts. It is the weight that feels good for you. It's all about that positive mental attitude. Well, time for that Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is, become a better learner at work. You know, research has found that learning agility, the ability to grow and to use new strategies, is a good indicator of whether someone can be a high performer. Learning agile employees are able to jettison skills and ideas that are no longer relevant and learn new ones that are. To cultivate yearning agility in yourself, try this. Innovating. Seek out new solutions. Repeatedly ask yourself, what else and what are more ways that I could approach this? And how about performing? When faced with complex situations, look for similarities in your past projects. Practice calming techniques and listen instead of simply reacting. How about this? Reflecting. Seek out input from others. Ask colleagues what you should or could have done better. And how about this? Risking? Look for stretch assignments where success isn't a given. And finally, avoid defending. Acknowledge your failures and capture the lessons that you've learned. That is the real secret to management. Well, you know what? It's time for those interesting but useless facts, and we've got a number of them for you today. And these are getting better all the time. I really love this part of the show. And right off, the first fact: the universally popular Hershey bar was used overseas during World War II as currency. There's one for you. And that's a fact. Chocolate bars, yeah. Did you know Mexico has more American residents than any other country except the United States? Yeah. And we're talking about immigration, right? Did you know that the heaviest baby weighed 23 pounds, 12 ounces, but did not survive birth? Now, the heaviest baby who survived birth weighed 22 pounds, 8 ounces. Boy, that poor mother. Holy mackerel. Did you know that manatees possess vocal cords which give them the ability to speak like humans, but don't do so because they have no ears with which to hear the sound? Isn't that interesting? Can you imagine? Try this on. Did you know that your smell is unique? Your body odor is unique to you unless you have an identical twin. Even babies recognize the individual scents of their mothers. There's one for you. That's really kind of interesting. Did you know that the only domestic animal not mentioned in the Bible is the cat? Whoa. And that's something. Well, I've got one for you. The Bank of America was originally called the Bank of Italy until the founder, Amedeo Giannini, changed the name in 1930. Well, get that. I mean, think about that for a minute. Bank of America was the Bank of Italy, and it was an Italian who founded the bank? There's something to think about. Did you know the infinity sign is called a lemniscate? Lemniscate. Who cares, right? You going to remember that? I'm not. Did you know that Jerry West was the model for the official NBA logo? His silhouette appears dribbling a basketball. That's who you're seeing, Jerry West. How about this? You know that time slows down near a black hole? Inside, it stops completely. That's why astrophysicists are saying that perhaps the answer to interstellar space travel is the black hole. Give that some thought. And you know what? Let me leave you with this. At 4,145 miles, the Nile River is the longest river in the world. Yep, you heard it here first on Robert Cardoza Live. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to answer your emails. My first email comes from Sofia Amaya Reyes from Palos Verdes, California, asking about a vacant rental. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live, and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses: website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:52 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 94 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, my good buddy John Matthews is waiting on the line. He's going to tell us all about his show tonight. And I want to remind you, I'm going to be on his show in about an hour. Hey, John, what are we going to be talking about tonight?
Well, we've got a couple of things we're going to be talking about. We're going to finish up our series. We're going to finish up our series that we've been doing on the RNC's attempt to manipulate the delegate count to make sure that their established candidate is the one that ends up standing at the end of all this. So we're going to give you some examples tonight of things that we see going on out there. We're going to talk about the process tonight. We're going to give you examples of how they're going to be doing it. We're going to talk about email situation with Hillary, what the FBI is or is not doing, and saying or not saying what they're doing. That's an interesting little twist in things. And then, of course, just the normal riffraff that's going on out there across cyberspace, regarding everything Republican these days. So it's going to be a good show. And then, of course, you'll be on the second hour with whatever we're going to let you choose your topic tonight. So you want to talk about.
Well, that's fantastic, because I also want to talk about Hillary. I think she's just on the cusp of getting thrown off the block. So we'll talk about that tonight, and we'll talk about the Republican Party, because you know what, I'm excited about everything. There's a lot of changes taking place right now.
Oh yes, without a doubt. We're back up to close enough. One of our affiliates has rebuilt their studio to relaunch it tonight. So we'll be back up to I think right now, 7 affiliates we're with right now. So we'll be back to those.
Okay, so John, I'll be talking to you in about an hour. Have a great first hour. I know how difficult that's going to be without me, but I'll be on there right around 6:15.
All right, take care.
All right, buddy, you take care. Thanks for calling. All right, now it's time for me to answer your emails. The first email that I received today is from Sophia Amaeus Rivas. She's from Palos Verdes, California. She's asking about a vacant rental, and basically, you know what the heck is going on here? I thought it was going to be a vacant rental. It doesn't. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it is a vacant rental. She says, I own a house that I rent out. A family that had rented it moved out before their lease was up. I couldn't rent the house quickly, so it was vacant for several months. Can I deduct my lost rental income? Here's the thing, Sophia. Unfortunately, the answer to your question is no. You have no deductible loss for tax purposes since you received no rental income for several months. You simply report zero rent in your income for that period. But that lack of income, combined with your normal expenses of maintaining the property, may or may not produce a deductible loss from rental activity. Also, if you believe that you were wronged by your tenant's failure to pay you the rent owed to you under the lease, you can sue them under the terms of that lease in your local court system. Now, any award that you receive is going to be taxable income to you. So kind of keep that in mind when you're moving along that way. Now, next email comes from Emmerich Brock from Union City, New Jersey, asking about IRA contributions, and says, can I contribute stocks that I own to my IRA? If not, can I contribute cash to my IRA and then have it buy the stocks from me? Well, Emmerich, unfortunately, the answer to your question is no. And no. All IRA contributions must be made in cash. The only way that an IRA can receive non-cash assets is through a transfer from another retirement account. Now, I'll give you an example of that. If an employer-sponsored 401k plan account holds stock shares, they can be transferred to an IRA. Now, in addition, an IRA may be disqualified and lose its tax-favored status if it engages in any of a list of prohibited transactions. Now, prominent among these is any sale, exchange, or lease with its owner or a member of its owner's immediate family. That would be a spouse, ancestor, lineal descendant, anything like that. Now, for more details on this, see publication 590. That's the individual retirement arrangement form, and you know what? You'll pretty be glad that you did that. Next email comes from Jeremy Chang from Ironton, Michigan, asking about withholding exemptions, and says, I incurred a big business loss that will wipe out most of my tax bill for the year. I want to file a new W-4 taking enough withholding exemptions to eliminate the tax withheld from my pay, but I've been told that if I take more than 10, I must report it to the IRS and will invite an audit. You know what? Here's the deal. You don't have to be concerned about this. The IRS used to require that employers report it to whenever an employee took more than 10 withholding exemptions. But the current requirement is that the employers only need to submit W-4s if the IRS requests them. Now, the IRS may then limit how many exemptions that you are actually allowed. You can and should take any number of withholding exemptions that you are entitled to in order to balance your tax payments for the year with your actual tax liability for the year. So just kind of keep that in mind. That's the best way to go. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Roar 1776 Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and on 405 Media Radio Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. On my next show, my expert contributor is going to be John Matthews in his series, The Conservative Syndicate. My guest, Joel Saltzman, will be in his series, Geared for Wellness. That's not Joel Saltzman, I'm sorry. That's Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness. And he's going to be talking about autism. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Time for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. In the meantime, I want you to stay happy. I want you to stay safe. I want you to make everyone's life better because you touched it. Good night, everybody.